Allo, allo, it's Nia. Welcome to AI Creator World Podcast, the place where creators learn how to grow faster, build smarter, and turn artificial intelligence into real opportunity. Here, we explore powerful AI tools, content strategies, personal branding systems, and new ways to create income in the digital era. If you are building something online, you are in the right place. Let's begin.
So what if I told you that the absolute highest performing marketing team of 2026 isn't actually a team at all?
Right.
It's just, well, single browser tab. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're kind of tearing down the whole illusion of the modern graphic designer. We're looking at this massive paradigm shift where absolute beginners, and I mean people who literally break out in a cold sweat at the mere mention of typography or, hex codes, they are somehow cutting their production time by like 80%.
Yeah, it is a staggering compression of time and effort.
Yeah.
I mean, we are really moving from this era where design was a highly specialized craft that took years of software mastery, right?
Oh, absolutely, years.
And we're moving into an era where the gap between having just a vague marketing idea in your head and publishing a flawless professional graphic it's practically zero now.
Okay, so let's unpack this, because if you are listening to this right now, I guarantee you know the exact pain we are talking about here. I mean, it's Tuesday morning, you are staring at your laptop, you know you need an engaging carousel for LinkedIn to promote a new service, maybe a vertical reel cover for Instagram, and, I don't know, a header for your weekly newsletter.
Yep, the classic weekly scramble.
Exactly. And you have the raw information, but the sheer friction of making it look good is just paralyzing. You are stuck on this content treadmill, basically running at full speed, but getting absolutely nowhere.
And that paralysis is really the defining problem of the modern solo creator, or even a small business owner. Because when you are forced to post across, 5 different platforms every single week just to stay relevant?
Yeah, at least 5.
Right. The traditional approach to design is actually your biggest enemy in that situation.
And that is exactly our mission today. We are taking a massive stack of current intelligence. Specifically, we're pulling from this really comprehensive 2026 guide from the AI Creator World team. It's titled 12 Best AI Tools for Social Media Graphics. And we are going to use this to rescue you from that treadmill.
We really are. We're going to show you exactly how artificial intelligence has fundamentally changed, like the actual physics of content creation.
Because what's fascinating here is that we aren't just talking about software that helps you draw a straighter line, right? Or crop a photo a little more efficiently.
No, not at all. The core shift we're seeing in this source material is the introduction of what we call design intelligence. These platforms now actually possess a built-in understanding of aesthetic rules.
I love that term, design intelligence. It implies that the software is actually doing some of the heavy cognitive thinking for you because, I mean, let's be honest, left to our own devices, beginners will absolutely put like neon green text on a bright yellow background.
Oh, 100%.
We think we are being super creative and edgy, but we are actually just making something totally illegible.
Precisely. Because the traditional blank canvas of older software, it doesn't judge you. It just allows you to make catastrophic aesthetic mistakes.
Right. It just lets you ruin it.
Exactly. But the 2026 AI tools that we are evaluating today, they're built with these fundamental algorithmic guardrails. They literally will not allow you to pair clashing fonts.
Wait, literally. They stop you.
Yeah. I mean, if you try to put a dark blue font on a black background, the AI actually calculates the contrast ratio, like the mathematical difference in brightness,
Right.
and it actively corrects it. Or it just refuses the action entirely to maintain legibility.
Okay, so it's literally protecting me from my own bad taste. That is amazing. That makes me think of an analogy.
Let's hear it.
So traditional graphic design is sort of like being given a pile of raw lumber, a box of nails, a blueprint, and someone just telling you, go build a house.
Good luck with that.
Right. You have to understand load-bearing walls. You have to know all the math of the angles. And if you make a mistake, the whole house collapses.
And normally it takes years of apprenticeship to learn how to build that structure so it actually holds up under scrutiny.
Exactly. But using these new AI tools is like walking into a fully furnished, architecturally sound luxury condo. The structure is mathematically perfect from the start. The lighting is already optimized.
Yeah, you just walk in.
Your only job is to walk in and decide, you know what? I want this accent wall to be my brand's specific shade of blue, and I'm going to swap out that generic painting for a photo of my actual product. You get all the credit for a stunning room, but the AI poured the concrete.
That perfectly encapsulates the psychological barrier we are trying to break down today. The primary source of creative friction for people is that terrifying distance between what you visualize in your mind and what your hands can actually execute on a screen.
Yes, it's so frustrating.
But these tools close that gap instantly. You are no longer a creator from scratch. You are essentially an editor of AI generation.
An editor of AI generation. I love that. That is a total permission slip for the listener. If you've ever felt like an imposter because you don't know the difference between like kerning and leading, you can just let that go.
Completely.
But before we get into the specific 12 tools from the guide that do this best, we really need a filter. Because let's be real, not all AI is created equal right now.
Oh, definitely not. There are a lot of gimmicks out there masquerading as actual innovation.
So we need to separate the toys from the workhorses. And the guide lays out 4 non-negotiable features. If you are evaluating any tool for your workflow in 2026, it must possess these 4 pillars. If it lacks even one, it's just going to become a bottleneck eventually.
Right, so let's tear into these. The first one makes total sense based on your luxury condo analogy. Ready-to-use templates.
But we aren't just talking about a couple of generic, boring backgrounds here.
Not at all. A true AI workhorse provides templates that are organized by highly specific parameters. We're talking platform dimensions, industry niche, and visual aesthetic.
So it knows what a bakery on Instagram needs versus a plumber on Facebook.
Exactly. A template in this modern context isn't just a pretty picture. It is an algorithmic starting point. It's a mathematically correct container built specifically for the algorithm you are trying to feed.
Right, because an Instagram square demands a completely different visual hierarchy than, say, a horizontal Twitter header.
Which leads directly into the second non-negotiable feature we need to talk about, which is auto-resizing.
Oh, man. I want to pause here for a second because I think people really underestimate how much time this specific feature saves.
Oh, it's massive.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of that Tuesday morning panic you described earlier,
Yeah,
auto-resizing is the ultimate lifesaver.
it really is.
Let's say you design a brilliant, quote, graphic for Instagram. In the past, translating that to LinkedIn meant opening a totally new, wider canvas. You had to copy the text over, stretch the background.
Which inevitably made the background all blurry and pixelated.
Right. And then you had to manually move your logo, and suddenly you realize the whole balance of the design is completely destroyed.
And by the time you've manually rebuilt that one graphic for 3 different platforms, an hour of your life is just gone.
Exactly. But the best AI tools now feature intelligent, one-click resizing. And it is crucial to understand how this actually works. It is not just stretching an image.
Right, it's smarter than that.
Think of the AI like a liquid. It breaks your design down into molecules. The headline is one molecule, the background photo is another, your logo is a third.
Okay.
When you click the LinkedIn layout button, it pours those molecules into a new, wider container. The AI understands the weight and the function of each element.
Wow. So it knows what the logo is.
Yes. It knows the logo needs to float back up to the top right corner. It knows the background image needs to expand without distorting the main focal point. And it reshapes the text block so it fits the new horizontal flow perfectly.
That is wild. It's not stretching the design. It's dynamically repouring it based on visual rules. Okay, so the third non-negotiable pillar from the guide is simple drag-and-drop editing. Now, I kind of have to push back here.
Yep.
Because drag and drop has been around since, like, the dawn of modern computing. I mean, every basic website builder has had this for 15 years. Why is this suddenly considered an AI feature?
It's a very fair question. The drag and drop mechanism itself is just the interface. It's just the steering wheel.
Yeah.
But the AI is this massive engine running silently underneath it.
Okay, so what's it actually doing?
Well, when you grab a new photo from your desktop
Yep.
and drag it into one of these templates, you aren't just dropping a file anymore. The system is executing multiple layers of really complex calculation in literally a millisecond.
Like what kind of calculations?
Well, semantic segmentation, for one.
Semantic what?
Segmentation. The AI instantly analyzes all the pixels of the photo you just dropped. It identifies the subject, say it's a person holding a coffee cup, and it cleanly removes the background if the template calls for a transparent image.
Without me clicking a background remover tool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it analyzes the lighting of your photo and subtly color grades it to match the warm vintage tone of the template you selected.
Oh, wow.
It's doing like 5 steps of advanced Photoshop work instantly just because you let go of your mouse button.
Okay, so the simplicity is actually a deliberate illusion. The interface hides a massive amount of complexity so I don't get overwhelmed.
Precisely. Complexity and steep learning curves are the enemy of consistent output. The AI's job is to make a highly complex workflow feel as simple as just moving a file around on your desktop.
That is incredible. Okay, so that brings us to the fourth and final non-negotiable: built-in animations and effects. Why is motion an absolute deal breaker for a tool in 2026?
Because the data dictates it. Algorithms across almost every social network prioritize retention.
Right, how long someone actually stares at a post.
Exactly. And motion captures the human eye way faster than static imagery. The advantage of these modern tools is that they offer one-click animation presets. You do not need to understand keyframes or timelines or, complex video rendering anymore.
So I don't need to go open up Adobe Premiere just to make my text slide onto the screen?
Not at all. You select your text, you click breathe or pan, and the AI calculates the physics of that movement perfectly.
Wow.
It adds professional-level kinetic typography to your static image instantly. It basically gives a complete beginner the output of a professional motion graphics designer.
Okay, so if you are listening to this, you now have your armor, you have your checklist.
Wow.
If a piece of software doesn't have thousands of algorithmic templates, liquid auto resizing, intelligent drag and drop, and one-click animation, just close the tab. It's not worth your time.
Move on.
So now, with that filter in place, let's look at the actual landscape of tools available in the guide.
Yeah, the AI Creator World Intelligence breaks these down into very distinct categories, which is super helpful because it proves that AI isn't just one giant monolith. Different tools solve very different bottlenecks.
Let's start with the heavyweights, the tools that try to be the ultimate foundational hub for literally everything. The guide calls them the all-in-one titans, and that's Canva, Adobe Express, and Simplified.
Right. So if you are a generalist, maybe you're a solo entrepreneur, a podcaster, or a local business owner, one of these three is likely where you will establish your home base. And Canva is really the undisputed juggernaut here.
Oh, for sure. Canva is practically a verb at this point. Just Canva it.
Exactly. It is the natural entry point for absolute beginners.
But what elevates it in this specific AI landscape? Like, why is it still dominant in 2026?
It's really their integration of generative AI directly into the core design workflow. They have this whole suite called Magic. Magic Design allows you to type a simple text prompt like Instagram post announcing a spring sale on ceramic mugs. And it doesn't just give you a blank template to fill in. It generates a complete layout. It pulls in relevant imagery, applies typography, and lays out the exact text you requested in the prompt.
And what if I don't like a specific part of the image it just generated? Like, what if it gives me a coffee cup but I want flowers?
Well, that's where Magic Edit comes in. It uses natural language processing. You just highlight a section of the photo, type replace the coffee cup with a bouquet of tulips, and the AI seamlessly blends the new object into the existing lighting and shadows of that original photo.
That is wild.
It really is the sheer accessibility of these incredibly powerful tools that makes Canva a titan.
But then you have Adobe Express. And I mean, Adobe brings a lot of baggage, both good and bad, from the professional design world, right? Because Photoshop and Illustrator are notorious for taking literal years to master. How does Express fit into a beginner's workflow?
So Adobe Express is positioned as a strategic bridge. It is built to sit perfectly between the extreme ease of Canva and the absolute limitless control of the full Adobe Creative Cloud. Its real superpower is the integration of Adobe Firefly, which is their generative AI model.
Now, let me stop you there, because Firefly is a really important distinction, especially for businesses, right? We've all heard the controversies about AI image generators scraping copyrighted art and getting companies into legal trouble.
That is a critical point, yes.
Yeah.
Firefly is trained exclusively on licensed, safe for commercial use images and public domain content.
Okay, so it's safe.
Completely. Yeah. If you are a business owner generating an image of, say, a bustling city street for a huge ad campaign, using Adobe Express ensures you won't accidentally generate an asset that infringes on someone else's copyright.
That is huge for peace of mind.
It provides legal peace of mind wrapped in a really beginner-friendly interface. And, plus, it introduces you to the logic of Adobe's ecosystem. So if your business grows and you ever do need to hire a professional designer, your assets are already in a language their professional tools understand.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. Because the intelligence introduces a third titan that kind of takes this whole all-in-one concept to an extreme. It's called Simplified.
Yes. Simplified is uniquely aggressive in its positioning. It recognizes that creating the graphic is actually only one part of the battle.
Right, because you also have to write the caption, generate the hashtags, and then actually log into the social platform to schedule the post.
Exactly.
Which means context switching, and I hate context switching. You build the image in one tab, then you open ChatGPT in another tab to write the caption, and then you open a scheduling tool in a third tab to post it. By the time you're done, you have 20 tabs open, and you're just exhausted.
Exactly. Every time you switch context, you leak energy and you leak time. Simplified essentially absorbs all of those functions into a single platform. It has the graphic design engine, an AI writing assistant to draft your copy, a basic video editor, and a social media scheduler, all in one place.
Let me try to visualize this. So Canva is kind of like a massive, beautifully organized supermarket. You can easily find all the ingredients you need to cook a great meal yourself.
Right.
And Adobe Express is more like a gourmet culinary class. It's accessible, but it's deliberately preparing you to understand the high-end techniques of a professional kitchen.
I like that. And simplified.
Simplified is like hiring a personal executive assistant. They don't just go to the supermarket and cook the meal, they actually serve it to your guests at exactly 6:00 p.m. while you are off doing something else entirely.
That's a great analogy.
You never have to leave the interface. You generate the graphic, the AI writes the caption based on the visual, and you just drag it onto a calendar to post on Thursday. The friction is entirely eliminated.
That is an excellent way to frame it.
Oh.
For the solo creator trying to act like an entire marketing department, eliminating that friction of context switching is invaluable.
So we have our titans. But what happens on a Wednesday afternoon when Canva's massive supermarket suddenly feels like a maze? Like, what if you don't need to do everything, you just need to do one thing incredibly well or incredibly fast?
That is when you graduate from the titans and you look at the specialists. These are tools engineered to aggressively eliminate very specific bottlenecks. The guide highlights VistaCreate, Snappa, Relay That, and Easel.
Let's start with VistaCreate, because if I'm already using Canva, why on earth would I open VistaCreate?
You open VistaCreate when your primary objective is motion. While the Titans offer animation, VistaCreate's entire architecture is completely biased toward dynamic moving content.
Oh, so it's all about video.
Yes, it boasts a massive specialized library of highly complex animated templates and video objects. If your brand lives primarily on platforms that punish static images like TikTok or, modern Instagram, VistaCreate gives you this deep reservoir of kinetic assets.
Assets that look like they were built in Adobe After Effects.
Exactly, but they're editable with a simple click.
Okay, now talk to me about Snappa. Because the claim being made in the guide about Snappa is that it gets you from a blank canvas to an export-ready graphic in under 5 minutes.
Yes, Snappa is built purely for velocity. It actually strips away a lot of the advanced generative AI features.
Wait, it removes features?
Yeah, it doesn't have magic edit or complex natural language processing. Instead, it offers a highly curated, heavily restricted library of templates and preset canvas sizes.
But wait, doesn't that inherently limit you? Like, if Snappa guarantees a design in under 5 minutes, aren't we just sacrificing quality for speed? Is this basically the digital equivalent of fast food?
That is the exact fear most creators have. But this raises a really important question about the nature of content. Does every single post need to be a masterpiece?
I mean, ideally, yes. We want things to look good.
But not in reality. Think about it. If you are launching a flagship product, absolutely, take your time. Craft it. But what if you just need a clean, readable header image for a quick blog post about a minor software update?
Okay, fair.
Or a straightforward graphic just announcing your holiday hours on Facebook? Over-tinkering with generative AI for an hour on a utilitarian post is a massive waste of resources.
So Snappa's restricted environment actually prevents you from getting lost in the weeds.
Exactly. It enforces speed. For certain types of daily communication, speed is the quality. It keeps the machine running.
That makes a lot of sense. It protects perfectionists from themselves. Now, let's pivot to a totally different kind of bottleneck, which is brand consistency.
Brand drift.
Yes. As a beginner, it is so easy to discover a cool new font on Monday, a trendy color palette on Wednesday, and by Friday, your company's Instagram grid looks like a ransom note patched together from 5 different magazines.
It is a massive problem, and this is exactly where Relay That and Easel provide brilliant, specialized solutions. Let's look at Relay That first. Traditional tools require you to open a template and manually change the default blue to your brand's blue and the default font to your brand's font.
Right, which takes time and leaves room for human error. You forget the hex code or whatever.
Right. Relay That flips the entire equation. Instead of customizing templates one by one, You input your brand kit into the system as variables.
Variables.
Yeah. You tell the AI, this is my exact hex code for red, this is my primary font, this is my secondary font, and here's my logo.
And then what does the AI do with those variables?
It acts as a permutation engine. You feed it a single line of text, and the AI instantly generates hundreds of different layout variations across all platforms. And every single one of them is perfectly branded with your exact colors and fonts.
Oh, wow.
You don't design a post anymore. You just browse a massive, instantly generated library of graphics that already look like you paid an agency to build them for you.
That is an absurd time saver. So you aren't hunting for a template and then painting your colors. The system just presents you with a menu where everything is already cooked in your exact brand flavor.
It is incredible. Now, Easel tackles brand consistency from a slightly different angle. Team dynamics. Because if we connect this to the bigger picture, the goal of any successful solo creator is to eventually scale and hire help.
Right. You want to outsource eventually.
But founders are terrified to delegate social media because they fear a junior employee or an intern will use the wrong colors, stretch the logo weirdly, and just ruin the brand's premium feel.
Oh, the classic founder's dilemma. Nobody can do it exactly the way I do it.
Exactly. Easel solves this through a feature called Brand Lock. It isn't just a design tool. It's a delegation mechanism. A senior designer or the business owner can create a master template and then literally lock specific layers.
So they can't touch them.
Right. You can lock the logo,
Right.
so it cannot be moved or resized by anyone else. You can lock the color palette, so only 3 approved colors can even be selected from the menu.
So I can literally hand this locked template to an intern.
And the intern can safely change the text for the daily quote, or they can swap out the background photo for the new product, but they are physically prevented by the software from messing up the core aesthetic. It scales trust. You are locking in your brand equity so you can safely hand the keys to someone else without anxiety.
That is incredibly smart. It completely removes the fear of delegation. So we have the titans handling the broad strokes, the specialists handling speed and brand control, but the landscape actually gets even more granular.
It does.
Let's dive into what the guide calls the niche innovators, because these are tools built for very specific types of creators.
And this is where the listener really needs to audit their own content. The niche innovators prove that AI can adapt to highly specific visual cultures. Take PixArt and Pictochart, for example. You could not invent 2 tools with more opposite philosophies.
Break that down. Let's start with PixArt. What is the use case there?
PixArt is built for the trenches of mobile social culture. It is heavily biased toward iOS and Android rather than sitting at a desktop browser. Its AI is trained on trending aesthetics. We're talking Y2K nostalgia, maximalist stickers, meme formats, glitch effects. It is designed for the creator who is, like, sitting on the subway, sees a trend exploding on TikTok, and needs to rapidly composite a hyper-relevant, culturally current visual response right on their phone.
Right, so it's fast, fluid, and chaotic in the best way possible.
Exactly. If you are managing the social media for a fast fashion brand or some edgy energy drink, PixArt gives you the raw materials of internet culture.
Okay, so then take that chaotic energy and look at Pictochart.
Right. Pictochart would never, ever be used to make a meme. Pictochart is engineered for the corporate thought leader, the B2B consultant, or the data analyst.
The people who basically live on LinkedIn.
Precisely. Let's say you have a dry 20-page PDF report on quarterly market trends. You need to turn those numbers into an engaging carousel. Pictochart's AI excels at parsing information density.
So it's not just about making a cool background.
No, it actually understands data structure. You feed it statistics, and the AI automatically generates visual hierarchies. It knows to make the 85% growth metric massive and bold, while subtly placing the supporting text below it.
Oh, wow.
It translates raw math into human visual language through charts and infographics.
So if you are trying to build authority by sharing insights and data, Pictochart is basically doing the translation work for you. That is a massive distinction. What about photo? Where does that fit in?
Photo is for the creator whose entire strategy relies on raw photography.
Okay.
Like if you are selling handmade jewelry or you are a real estate agent, the graphics and the text are really secondary. The photo itself is the hero.
Right, they need to see the house, not the font.
Exactly. Photo's AI is deeply specialized in pixel-level enhancement. It's not about adding text, it's about fixing the image itself.
Like Photoshop touch-ups.
Yeah, but automated. It uses advanced neural networks for unblurring low-light photos, intelligently removing, say, a trash can from the background of a real estate shot, or utilizing AI face mapping to subtly retouch a portrait without making it look like a terrifying plastic filter.
Right, keeping it natural.
It ensures the raw material is flawless before you ever even think about adding a logo to it.
And then there is Designs.ai, which the intelligence specifically notes is tuned for agency-level aesthetic intelligence. What does that mean?
Well, Designs.ai really shines in its AI-driven color theory and typography pairing. It analyzes your core brand and uses these massive data sets of award-winning designs to suggest complementary color palettes and font pairings.
So it's doing the matching for you.
Right, pairings that evoke specific psychological responses.
Yeah.
It gives a complete beginner access to the nuanced aesthetic decisions that usually require an expensive art director.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, but we absolutely have to talk about Predis.ai, because when I read the capabilities of this tool in the guide, my analogy alarm went completely off. It genuinely sounds like science fiction.
It is the absolute bleeding edge of what we call the hands-off experience.
Yeah.
Every tool we've discussed so far, even the all-in-ones like Canva, require you to manually interact with the canvas in some way, right?
Yeah, you have to pick the template, adjust the text, choose the photo.
Exactly. Predis.ai operates on a completely different paradigm.
Okay, explain the mechanism. How does it actually work?
It uses advanced web scraping combined with natural language processing. You do not start with a template at all. You start with a URL.
A URL, like a web link.
Yes. Let's say you own an e-commerce store selling running shoes. You copy the URL of a specific shoes product page, paste it into Predis.ai, and hit enter. The AI navigates to your website. It reads the product description to understand the features. Say, it reads that the shoe is lightweight and waterproof. It analyzes the brand tone of your website. It extracts the product photography directly from the page.
Okay.
Then it synthesizes all that data. It generates a perfectly sized visual graphic featuring the shoe. It writes a compelling Instagram caption highlighting the waterproof feature, and it generates the optimal hashtags.
Wait, from just pasting a link, it gives me the final art, the copy, and the metadata.
Yes, from a single link. And it can do this at scale.
Oh, no.
You can tell it to generate a full week's worth of posts based on that one product, and it will give you a promotional graphic for Monday, an educational carousel about the shoes materials for Wednesday,
Yeah.
and a testimonial graphic for Friday, all preloaded into a calendar.
Okay, so Predis.ai is essentially a content vending machine. You walk up, you insert your coin, which is just a URL or a single text prompt, and a fully wrapped snack just drops out.
That's exactly it.
A complete, multi-layered post ready to be consumed. You didn't cook the snack, you didn't design the wrapper, you just distribute it.
That is a highly accurate representation. However, we must introduce a pretty major caveat here.
Let's hear it.
The most successful creators in 2026 don't just blindly dump the vending machine snacks onto their feeds.
Right, because if everyone is using vending machines, the internet just becomes a sea of identical, soulless plastic snacks.
Exactly. The intelligence explicitly warns that while the AI does all the heavy lifting of conceptualization, layout, and copywriting instantaneously, human review is still absolutely critical.
You still have to care.
Right. You need to read the AI-generated caption and inject your own specific voice. You might need to tweak the generated graphic to ensure it doesn't feel too generic. The tool gets you 95% of the way there in seconds, but that final 5% of human curation is what prevents your brand from feeling like a robot.
That makes total sense. Okay, it's staggering. We've mapped the entire territory. You know the all-in-ones, you know the specialists, and you know the niche innovators. But knowing the names of the tools is basically useless if you don't know how to pilot them.
Exactly. A tool is just a tool.
And what is so valuable about this guide is that it doesn't just list software. It provides a highly practical, minute-by-minute blueprint for exactly how a beginner should execute a design.
Yes, it is a literal step-by-step workflow. And the order of operations here is incredibly specific, designed to bypass the psychological friction we discussed earlier.
Let's walk through it. Imagine I am a local coffee shop owner. I want to promote a new seasonal latte. I sit down at my computer. What is step one?
Step one, choose your platform and format first.
Okay.
Do not look at templates yet. Do not think about colors. Decide the container. Are you making a square post for Instagram or a horizontal banner for a Facebook event? You must establish the mathematical boundaries of the canvas first, because that dictates literally everything else.
Okay, I choose an Instagram portrait format. I lock that in. Step two.
Step two, pick a template that is structurally close to your goal. And the critical advice from the guide here is, do not aim for perfection.
Oh man, this is such a trap. I have easily burned 45 minutes just scrolling through 1,000 Canva templates looking for the perfect one, only to end up deleting everything on it anyway.
Exactly. You are experiencing decision fatigue before you even start creating. The AI is offering you layouts, not final products.
Right, it's just the bones.
Yes, you are simply looking for the right structural bones. If you want an image of your latte with a big headline at the top and a small price at the bottom, just find a template that has an image in the middle, big text at the top, and small text at the bottom.
Even if the template is currently like advertising a mechanic shop.
It doesn't matter if it's for a mechanic shop, because of step 3, which is where the real transformation happens.
Okay, what's step 3?
Step 3, customize the highest impact elements first, specifically your brand colors and your fonts.
Now, this raises an important question for me. Why colors and fonts first? Why not swap the photo of the mechanic for a photo of my latte first? That seems counterintuitive. I want to see my product.
It does seem that way, but it is a fundamental principle of design psychology. Color and typography carry the heaviest immediate visual weight. They anchor the design's identity.
How so?
If you are looking at a template for a mechanic that is currently neon orange and black with a harsh industrial font, your brain actually struggles to imagine your cozy, rustic coffee shop existing in that space.
Oh, because it feels so wrong.
Exactly. But the absolute second, you change that neon orange to your brand's soft sage green, and you swap the industrial font for your elegant serif typeface, the entire emotional context of the canvas shifts.
That is a massive light bulb moment. Change the paint and the lighting first, and suddenly the room feels like yours. Then you can bring in your furniture.
Exactly. Once it actually feels like your brand, the rest of the decisions, swapping the photo of the tire for your latte, typing in New Spring Latte, they become obvious and totally frictionless.
Okay, so I've customized my template. It looks amazing. It took me 3 minutes. What is step 4?
Step 4, auto resize for your secondary platforms. You've perfected the vertical Instagram post. Now you hit the auto resize button to generate the horizontal version for Twitter and the square version for Facebook.
But I don't just blindly export those, right? The AI isn't infallible.
Correct. The workflow explicitly mandates a human review stage right here. When the liquid layout pours your vertical design into a wide horizontal container, an important part of your latte photo might get cropped awkwardly, or the headline might stretch too far across the screen and become hard to read.
Right, it might look a little wonky.
Exactly. You must act as the creative director. The AI did the manual labor, but you must spend 30 seconds just nudging the text back into place or adjusting the image framing.
So the AI is the brilliant intern, but the intern still needs a boss to sign off on the final proof.
Got it. Okay, the final step, step 5, is applying animations and effects. Yes. Only after the static layouts are perfectly logged across all your sizes do you apply motion. You select your headline and apply a subtle fade for a classy feel, or maybe an energetic bounce if it's a flash sale.
So what does this all actually mean for my daily schedule? If I, as the coffee shop owner, followed this exact 5-step blueprint using a tool like Canva or Adobe Express, how long does this realistically take?
The intelligence makes a definitive claim on this. Once you are familiar with the interface of your chosen tool, this entire workflow, from selecting the format, applying brand colors, swapping the image, resizing for 3 platforms, and adding animation takes under 5 minutes per campaign.
Under 5 minutes.
Less than 5 minutes.
In the time it takes my actual coffee to cool down to a drinkable temperature, I have conceptualized, designed, formatted, and animated a multi-platform marketing campaign.
Yep.
That completely shatters the intimidation factor. I mean, it strips away every single excuse I have for not communicating consistently with my audience.
It truly democratizes execution. But we do have to address the elephant in the room here.
Right, there's always a catch.
Just because you have a sports car doesn't mean you know how to drive it safely.
Very true.
Just because the AI allows you to generate graphics in 5 minutes doesn't mean you can just abandon the fundamental rules of human visual perception.
Right. The AI is a tool, not a tastemaker. It will execute whatever you tell it to do. If you tell it to make something cluttered and confusing, it will do so very, very efficiently.
It will happily make a mess for you.
And the intelligence highlights several timeless design principles that we really must maintain, even when AI is doing the heavy lifting. Let's dig into those, starting with the most critical beginner trap.
Yes, the absolute most common error is over-designing. The guiding principle here is simply keep design simple and readable.
I have a great visual for this. Over-designing a graphic just because you have access to a powerful AI tool is kind of like going into your closet and putting on your favorite hat, and then your favorite scarf,
Oh, I see where this is going.
and sunglasses, and 4 necklaces, and a heavy winter coat. Individually, all those items are great, but wearing all of them at the same time is chaotic and totally confusing. Just because you can add a neon drop shadow, a 3D sticker, and a gradient background in Canva doesn't mean you should put them all on the same canvas.
That is a perfect analogy. Cognitive load theory applies heavily to social media. When a user is scrolling rapidly, their brain has microseconds to parse your graphic.
Microseconds.
Right. And if you have 4 different fonts, 3 images, and a background pattern all competing for attention, the brain just rejects it as too much work and simply scrolls past.
You have to strip off the accessories, let it breathe.
Exactly. The intelligence instructs creators to aim for one clear focal point. And the AI tools actually try to help you with this through the concept of white space.
Oh, elaborate on that, because beginners hate white space. They feel like empty space is wasted real estate. Like, I paid for the whole graphic, I'm going to use the whole graphic.
It is a very, very common misconception. White space, or negative space, the empty areas around your text and images, is not wasted space. It is structural support.
Structural support, I like that.
It is what allows the viewer's eye to rest and actually process the focal point. Without white space, a design isn't communicating. It's just screaming. Clean, uncluttered design conveys confidence and professionalism.
Okay, principle number 2, consistent brand colors. We touched on this with Relay That, but why is it so vital from a psychological standpoint? Like, why can't I just use whatever color matches my mood that day?
Because you are destroying your own subconscious equity.
What does that mean?
When an audience is scrolling, they do not read your username first. Their brain processes color long before it processes text. If you consistently use the exact same shade of navy blue and gold, and your content consistently provides value, the audience begins to subconsciously associate those specific colors with trust and authority.
So the next time they are scrolling at the speed of light, that flash of navy blue makes their thumb stop before they even realize why?
Exactly. Consistency builds a subconscious reflex. The intelligence states a really profound truth here. Over time, visual consistency builds a level of brand recognition that no single viral post can ever achieve.
Wow. Consistency beats virality. That is powerful. Okay, the third principle from the guide is focus on visual hierarchy. Now, this sounds like technical jargon. What does visual hierarchy actually mean when I'm building an Instagram post?
Visual hierarchy is simply the choreography of human attention. You are deliberately guiding the viewer's eye through the canvas in a specific sequence.
Okay, how so?
Studies on eye tracking, like the Z pattern or the F pattern, show that in the Western cultures, we read top to bottom, left to right.
Right.
So how do you enforce that choreography? You use size, weight, and contrast to tell the brain what matters most. In a standard graphic, the hierarchy should be headline first, supporting image second, call to action third.
Okay, that makes sense.
Your headline must be the largest, thickest, highest contrast element on the screen. It captures the initial attention. Then, their eye naturally drops down to the supporting image to gain context, and finally, rests on the smaller text at the bottom, telling them to click the link in bio.
You never want them looking at your logo first, because the logo doesn't give them a reason to care.
Precisely. And what's really fascinating is how we should interact with AI templates regarding hierarchy. The professional designers who built the templates in Canva or Adobe, they already did the mathematical calculations for perfect visual hierarchy.
Right, they set the font sizes for a reason.
Exactly. The text is already the right size.
Which raises an interesting point. How should a beginner actually use these templates to get better at design?
The intelligence explicitly advises using the AI as a tutor, not just a production engine.
A two.
Yes. Don't just blindly fill in the blanks. Stop and study the template. Ask yourself, why did the designer make this specific word bold? Why is there so much empty space on the left side? By reverse engineering the AI's guardrails, you actively absorb the psychology of user attention.
Wow.
You graduate from relying on the tool to actually developing your own creative intuition over time.
That is the ultimate empowerment. You are getting paid in both content output and personal skill development.
Absolutely.
The final principle the intelligence offers is to test different formats for engagement.
Yes. And this brings everything full circle back to the speed of AI. In the past, you didn't A/B test a graphic because it took 3 hours to make just one.
Right. I spent all morning on this infographic, so this is what you're getting.
Exactly, you just posted it and hoped for the best.
Yeah.
But now, because of auto resize and liquid layouts, you can generate an infographic, a multi-image carousel, and a short animated video from the exact same core information in roughly 10 minutes.
That's incredible.
The intelligence urges you to leverage this speed. Post the carousel on Tuesday, post the single graphic on Thursday, and let the actual audience data tell you what they prefer. You no longer have to guess. You can act like a data scientist because the friction of creation is just gone.
This has been an incredibly enlightening breakdown. We've gone from the raw fear of a blank screen to a place of absolute mechanical control over our workflow. As we wrap up this masterclass drawn from the 2026 AI Creator World Intelligence, let's zoom all the way out. What is the ultimate macro-level message for the person listening right now?
The ultimate message is true democratization. In 2026, consistent, stunning, professional quality graphic production is a baseline reality for everyone. You do not need a massive agency budget. You do not need a 4-year degree in visual communications. The gap between your ideas and a finished, scroll-stopping campaign has been permanently eradicated by these tools.
And the strategic playbook is incredibly clear. Do not try to master all 12 tools today. That leads right back to paralysis.
Right. Just audit your needs.
Exactly. Audit your needs. If you want the ultimate all-in-one supermarket, start with Canva. If you manage a team and you fear brand drift, implement Easel. If you want pure vending machine automation, test Predis.ai. Choose one tool, lock in your brand variables, strictly follow that 5-minute workflow we discussed, and let the AI shoulder the heavy lifting.
It is really the only sustainable way for a solo operator to maintain the relentless consistency required by modern platforms.
It is a completely new world. But as we sign off today, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final, lingering thought to mull over. Something that builds on everything we've discussed about the absolute ease of achieving aesthetic perfection.
Let's hear it.
If tools like Canva and Adobe Express have truly democratized professional design, if perfectly formatted, flawlessly hierarchical, beautifully color-graded graphics are now the effortless baseline for literally every single creator on the internet in 2026, what becomes the new differentiator? When visual perfection takes 5 minutes and costs absolutely nothing, does perfection lose its value? Does raw, unpolished, purely human authenticity, the shaky camera, the unedited thought, the slight imperfection, suddenly become the new premium currency in our social feeds? Something to think about the next time you drop a perfect photo into a perfect AI template. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the AI Creator World Toolkit. Keep exploring, stay curious, and take control of your creative workflow. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to AI Creator World Podcast. If you found this episode valuable, make sure to follow the podcast, subscribe on YouTube, and share this episode with another creator who is building their future online. For deeper guides, AI tools, and step-by-step growth strategies, visit our website at aicreatorworld.net. And remember, in the age of artificial intelligence, creators who learn faster will lead the future. See you in the next episode. Bye!